Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video I'm going to look at the third deck from Core Set 2021, which is Liliana Death Mage, which is a mono-black deck. We've got the deck list here, so we've got 24 creatures, 7 instants, 2 sorceries, 1 enchantment, 25 land, and of course a single Planeswalker. We've got a mana curve off to the side there. I didn't actually realise what a big spike it is at 2, but that's fine I suppose. It means you're guaranteed to cast something I suppose. Let's look at the cards. Sorry, Liliana Deathmage. So 4 and double black for 4 loyalty Planeswalker. I actually noticed these M21 Planeswalkers are actually really below what the expected curve has been so far, because at 6 mana you'd expect 5 loyalty, but whatever. Right, so her +1, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Good, perfect, classic, iconic Liliana. As we're going to see in the deck, there's a lot of things that care about your creatures dying. You've got a lot of death triggers, so you're going to want your stuff dying, so being able to get them back is obviously super good. Her -3 is to destroy a creature and its control loses 2 life, so yeah, fine. Nice bit of like removal, I suppose. And then her -7, target opponent loses 2 life for every creature card in their graveyard, which doesn't feel very Liliana to me. And I know that sounds weird, but like, I don't know, we'd usually expect Liliana to have like effects that like get stuff out of graveyards, like reanimation effects. So this feels really weird to have an ultimate that punishes an opponent for having stuff in their graveyard. And it's just, I don't know, just doesn't feel very Liliana. And also, I don't think it's like that amazing ability, I suppose, because I mean, by the time you get it, I suppose like the game's been going on like a long time anyway. Like you're dropping Liliana potentially turn 6, and then she goes up to 5 loyalty, presuming you're not doing anything else. You're going up to what, like turn 8 before you can pop that -7, I suppose, turn 8 or turn 9. So like there is the potential the game's gone long enough there that that extra 2 life for every creature on their graveyard, that might be sort of like 6, 8, 10 life maybe. I mean, in that regard, it is like a big life swing, but like I don't know, it just doesn't feel very Liliana to me. It's just, yeah, I don't know. We've seen better Lilianas in this series. Right, and then her signature cards. So we've got 2 Liliana Scorn, 3 in double black, destroy type creature, and then search for Liliana. Yeah, it's a removal spell, isn't it? Which so it's perfectly functional. It doesn't add to the board. I think over this series I've discovered I do like the search spells that are creatures, because at least then they come onto the board and stay there. But I mean, if you can't get a creature, at least like a solid removal is like a perfect acceptable alternative, I suppose. 3 Liliana Scrounger. This might be, I think, one of the worst buddies we've seen in the series, right? So 2 and a black for 3/2, which is like, okay, whatever stats. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may put a loyalty counter on a Liliana Planeswalker you control. Right. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, this is where I'm now going to be like, is it actually as bad as I'm saying it is? Like, I don't think it's that great, really, because you got to have creatures dying all the time, which like might not be difficult to do, I suppose. But then it's like all it's. I mean, I say all it's doing is adding extra loyalty counters to Liliana, and that's obviously pretty good as well. But I don't know, like this does nothing for me. I don't think it's that great. I'm sure, if someone in the comments will say like, no, it's actually really, really good. Because obviously getting extra loyalty counters on Planeswalker is really good, because it means you can get to their bigger abilities quicker, or like use their minuses more often. But I just think these ones like this are like just so niche. Anyway, I don't know. At least it's like a 3/2, I suppose, so it can sort of punch up okay. And then 4 Spirit of Malevolence, which I think is much better than Liliana Scrounger. 1 the black for a 2/1 when it dies. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Yep, that's fine. That's a really nice actually 2-drop for black actually, I think. Right, so one of the other res in the deck is Liliana's Standard Bearer, so 2 in the black for a 3/1 with flash. When it ends the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. This is a really nice effect, I think. And what I really like about it as well, and this is not something I've gone off on a tangent about for a while, but yeah, bear in mind, this is a core set. It's definitely aimed at at newer players, and I know I've banged on about it before, but I like cards like this that like emphasize to new players that like you do have a second main phase after combat. And obviously, I know this got flash. You could drop this, during an opponent's turn as well, which is actually really nice. If they do like a big, they attack on their turn and you do a load of blocks and all your stuff dies, and then you drop this at the end of combat and you draw a bunch of cards. But you could obviously do this on your turn as well after you've swung and a lot of your stuff's died in combat, and then you drop this in your second main phase and draw a bunch of cards. And I just like cards that remind new players that you do have a second main step. Combat is not the end of your turn, which I have seen a lot of new players do. Like they attack and then end their turn. So cards that that remind them like, oh hey, you can do stuff after combat, I think are always good. And also this is like a really, really nice effect as well. I think it's really, really solid. A lot of ways this can be you can get some really good value out of this. The fact it's only 3 as well, it's really good. And it's the 3/1 with flash. Like I feel like you need to draw like 1 card of this. It's actually okay for 3 mana. So yeah, I really like Liliana Standard Bearer. Really good card in here, I think. Right, then we have 2 Gormand, 4 and double black for a 5/5 with flying and trample. It's additional cost to cast it. You have to sacrifice a creature, but when it ends the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. So essentially, board wide Innocent Blood, and it's a 5/5 flying trample. So like this absolute house, this guy. I've not played these decks, against I know I bought these decks, but like I did buy some Jumpstart cards like back in the day. And this one of the Jumpstart decks I got had Gormand in it, and like so hard to deal with. It's just an absolute house when he comes down. So yeah, this is a really nice card. And obviously you're playing a deck where you've got a load of stuff that doesn't mind dying, so this is actually perfect. So yeah, good card. We've got 3 Grim Physicians on the subject of cards that don't mind dying. 1 black mana for a 1/1. When it dies, target creature and opponent controls gets -1/-1 turn 10. Yep, it's a nice Festering Goblin reskin. Just, yeah, it's good. I like it. Then a bunch of stuff from Ikoria. So 2 Bushmeat Poachers, 3 and a black for a 2/4. 1 and tap, sacrifice another creature. You gain life equal to that creature's toughness and draw a card, which is really, really nice. Tacking on draw a card to it as well. Because like normally this effect when like, oh, just sacrifice a creature, gain life equal to the toughness is usually like a bit of a desperation play I've found. Because it's just like, oh man, I need to like hang on by an extra couple points of life, or like it's a creature that's like gonna die anyway, which is like obviously still the optimum time to use like an effect like this if a creature's gonna die in combat anyway. But they're tacking on draw a card to it as well, I think is really, really nice, and making the ability only cost 1 is this is a really solid card. I actually really like this. Ikoria had a lot of bangers, like I don't like mutate. I hate mutate as a mechanic actually, because I just think it's an absolute mess. But a lot of like kind of like the commons and uncommons are really, really strong. It's a real shame we never got Ikoria Planeswalker decks, because I really wanted to talk about that set. And then 2 Lurking Deadeyes, 3 and a black for a 4/2 with flash. When it ends the battlefield, destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Always like it when black gets this ability, this kind of like finishing blow, fatal blow, I think was the card back in Visions Mirage. Yeah, this is really nice. And the fact it's got flash obviously makes it super good as well. You can drop it during like an opponent's turn to kill off one of the creatures that's taking damage. And then it's also a 4/2. So yeah, really, really good. I like it. Well, no, not really good. It's just really solid. It's a solid common. And 3 durable coil bugs. So this is like your sacrifice fodder. So 1 a black for a 2/2, and you spend 4 and a black to return it from your graveyard to your hand. It's a shame it's not coming straight back into play, but like not everything can be reassembling skeleton, I suppose. Yeah, this is obviously really solid. This is like the sacrifice fodder for like Bushmeat Poacher and Gormand and all the other cards like that. So yeah, I like durable coil bug. And then weirdly, like 4 Masked Blackguard. I'm like, sure, I suppose. 1 and a black for a 2/1 with flash. You can spend 2 and a black to give it +1/+1 turn. Very weird there's 4 of these, because I don't really feel like it's doing... I suppose it's got low toughness, so it dies, which you've got cards that care about dying. I suppose just view it as like a removal spell, essentially for combat. Actually, I realised a lot of things with flash in here as well. You've got Mouse Blackguard, the Standard Bearer, the... what was it, the Keen Eye, Lurking Deadeye? Yeah, a lot of things with flash actually, which is very, very weird. Well, not weird, but just notable, I suppose. Yeah, Mouse Blackguard is obviously perfectly okay. I suppose it's okay. Just treat it as a mid-combat removal spell. And then we've got 2 Alchemist's Gifts, 1 black mana for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains your choice of Death Touch or Lifelink turn. I really like this. I really like the flexibility of it, because either of those keywords are obviously super good on a bunch of the creatures you've got in the deck here. Yeah, and for a single black mana, I think it's a really perfect little combat trick. Actually, I think it's really cute. And then 2 Unlikely Aid, 1 in a black. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains indestructible in turn. Really like cheap black buff spells that give indestructibility. I think they're great. Yeah, and this is obviously absolutely fine as well. When you got some, I know you got a whole you got a whole bunch of creatures that like care about things dying, but sometimes you don't want something to die. So yeah, Unlikely Aid I think is a pretty good inclusion here. And then 3 Grasp of Darkness as a sort of more solid removal spell here. Double black to give something -4/-4 to turn. This is obviously great. Like 2 mana for -4/-4 is going to kill like a whole bunch of stuff really efficiently. So yeah, that's great. I really like Grasp of Darkness. And then the other end of the deck is Demonic Embrace. So 1 and double black. Aura goes on a creature. Enchanted creature is +3/+1, has flying, and is a demon in addition to its other types. So that's a really good power boost and gives flying. So in that regard, I think it's pretty great. What makes it even better, I think, you can cast Demonic Embrace from your graveyard by paying 3 life and discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So even if the the thing you put it on dies, and you lose the Demonic Embrace, you can get it back for any 3 life and discarding a card, which I think is really, really solid. And you can discard what, the Coil Bug? Yeah, the Coil Bug, comes from your graveyard back to your hand. Perfect. To sacrifice a Coil Bug to keep getting the Embrace back, and like 3 life is nothing to give something +3/+1 and flying. Yeah, it's really good. Like, just turns pretty much any creature in the deck into like a really big threat. So yeah, I think this is a solid extra rare to include. And then 25 swamps. And then, as before in the past 2 core 2021 videos we've had, suggest some cards from Throne of Eldraine or Ikoria or Theros Beyond Death, whatever, that could have fit into this deck. That could have done really well. So I didn't have time to go through all of them and find something, but I'm sure there's something out there. So I would love to hear people's suggestions on what cards could have made this deck even better. But yeah, I think it's actually pretty solid. It does. I mean, I suppose it's okay, isn't it? Like a bunch of like death triggers and death matters and stuff. It's just not something I'd normally expect from Liliana, because I don't know. I like Lily when she reanimates stuff. So she cares about more stuff when it's dead, not like as it dies. I suppose, if that's what I mean. What a weird quibble to have with the deck space. I think overall, I think it's okay. I think there's some really nice tools in here, and I think it would have played like pretty well. Yeah. So I'd like to know what people think about this one. You got any thoughts or stories or comments, opinions about the deck or any of the cards in it? Stick a comment below. I'll give those a read. I always do, and I always enjoy doing it. But I'll be back next time. I'm going to look at the next core 2021 Planeswalker deck. So I hope you join me for that. But until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.